my family's always gone on these big, long road trips. We're a driving family, and I grew up like sitting in the back seat of cars for ages and was totally used to it. But then I got a cat, and that cat did not know about this problem or this trend in my family. So my cat Tippy was unaware when I got a job in Cincinnati and I was living in Northern California that we would be needing to drive for 3 or 4 days across the country. And I didn't understand like how I was supposed to take a cat across the country. We'd had a dog before and we'd taken on road trips and she was fine, she was really good at it. But I was like, how do you travel with a cat? So first I went to the vet and I was like, I'm gonna need some pills. Not for me, for the cat. Just to like that I can give him if he needs to like calm down. And they were like, yeah, we got you. And then I was like, do I leave the cat in the carrier? Because that seems like a small space for the cat to be in for 3 or 4 days. So I tried to think of ways that the cat could have more space. So I went to the hardware store and found like it's like chicken wire, but it's thicker, it's like tinier squares, and I just had them cut a piece to a size I imagined would work, and miraculously, it perfectly fit in the back of my Oldsmobile Alero. You could wrap it like under, it hits the bottom, it went from the floorboards to the ceiling in the Oldsmobile and it tucked into the sides of the back seat. So I made a little cop car cage for my back seat for the cat. And I put the cat bed on one side, and then I had like a foot bath that I filled with some litter, like emergency cat litter, on the other side. And we hit the road with my mom. And we're driving from California, and I was like, I don't want to just give him pills all the time. Like, hopefully we can just get this without having to drug him up. So I was like, Tippy, if we get to Sparks and you're still meowing, you're getting a pill. Because the whole trip, the 2.5 hours or so from Nevada City to Sparks, he was like, meow, 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 like about that timing. And he'd get a little tired. He'd be like, meow, meow, meow. And I was like, this is going to be a long trip, Tippy. But miraculously, right as we get to Sparks, he kind of settles in and falls asleep. He gets under a blanket and then forgets to meow. He would wake up every couple of hours and meow a couple times and go back to bed. But then Tippy discovered his favorite thing about road trips, which were hotel rooms. Because you get your cat out and you bring him in his little duffel bag and you let him loose in the hotel, which is full of interesting smells, I'm assuming, if you're a cat. He seemed to think it was. That first night, my mom thought was being helpful and was like, let's just put the litter box in the bathtub. That will keep him from getting litter everywhere. But then we discovered at 3 a.m. that the sound of a cat scratching in the litter box, kind of neurotically, because he doesn't know what's going on, it really echoes when it's in the bathroom and on the porcelain bathtub. So we got rid of that pretty quickly. But he would spend the whole night like smelling every smell in the room until like the first door banged closed at 5 a.m. or something. He heard something and he'd get scared, and like you just find a lump at the foot of one of our beds under all the blankets one morning. And then pick him back up, and it was time to put him back in the car. And then he started like acting like a arrested, like somebody getting a police car. Like he'd put his paws on either side, and he'd to like peel back the chicken wire, and he was like, no, and he'd just like shove him into the back. And it was true. It was like, I was like, you're under arrest. And then, but by like the third day, he was just like, this is my life now. I live in this car and we're just gonna drive, and then I get to smell things at night. Like, I guess this is like, his spirit was completely broken. But luckily for us, he was very quiet and well behaved. So that was the 4-day trip that he went from California to Cincinnati. But after that, like, he became like a regular road trip cat. Like, I lived in Cincinnati then, and my parents lived in Milwaukee. And sometimes I'd just take him up with me on the weekend. I'd be like, we're going in the car. And he kind of generally was good. He knew the routine. I stopped using the cop car cage. I just had like a harness on him, and then I put a leash through the place where you latch in the safety seat, like a car seat for a kid. But that, like, then he could only walk on the back seat because the leash wasn't long enough. And then after a while, I didn't even use the leash. He just hung out in the back seat. And sometimes at night, he would come and sit in the front seat next to me, which was fun when we were going through the little toll booths in Chicago. Because one time I rolled the window down, and he was just sitting in the seat, like, waving at the toll booth lady. And I was like, look at you, you're so brave. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to end this. So yeah, I know the best ending. Generally, he just hid under the blanket and never used the litter box. But one time on a trip, we got stuck in traffic in Chicago, and we're going to Milwaukee, and he was like, I can't do it, lady. I got to use the litter box. So all of a sudden, I hear him scratching, and I'm like, God, I just hope he's peeing. God, I just hope he's peeing. He was not just peeing. I was like, no! And I rolled the windows down as much as I cracked it, because I didn't want him to like make a run for it or anything. But trust me, you don't want a cat pooping in your car while you're going down the interstate. So thanks.